Refill a self-inking stamp. One of the tools that you will need for your business is a self-inking stamp. The self-inking stamp has a built-in mechanism that will keep the stamp pad moist with ink. This means that you will no longer have to dip your stamp in an ink pad, because the ink pad is already built into the stamp. However, self-inking stamps will eventually dry out, especially if you use it constantly. The self-inking stamp, however, can be refilled so that you can continue using the stamp. Here's how. Securing the stamp. First, you will need to press down the stamp to about 1/4 of an inch. Doing this will allow the indents or buttons on the side of the stamp to protrude and come out. These buttons are what you will use to secure the stamp into a position where you can refill the self-inking stamp. Not all self-inking stamps will have the lock mechanism. If your stamp does not have one, you can simply hold the stamp down in this position, although this can be a bit more tiring. Getting the ink strip. Next, you will need to remove the ink strip that is built into the self-inking stamp. This strip is usually found in the front of the stamp and usually comes with the manufacturer's symbol or logo. Use your fingers to push down part of the ink strip. Once the ink strip is dislodged, you can then pull off the rest of the strip using your fingers. Some stamps have ink strips that can be fully dislodged, while there are those that come with ink strips that are attached at the end of the stamp. Do not force the strip off if your stamp is connected to the strip. After all, you only need a few inches of the ink strip so that you can refill the stamp. Refilling the ink strip. Usually, you will need to add only 6 or so drops of ink on the ink strip. Some ink refills come with rollers. In this case, you will simply need to roll the roller across the ink strip 5 to 6 times. Make sure that you do not over-refill the ink strip, since this will make your stamps messy and will only leak out of the self-inking stamp. When choosing the ink, make sure that you stick to one color, which will make the ink stamps more uniform and more professional looking. Cleaning up. Return the ink strip back to its original position by pushing it inwards using your fingers. Next, place the ink on top of a few scraps of paper and then release the lock button on the stamp. Afterwards, stamp down on the paper so that the excess ink will be absorbed into the paper. Removing excess ink will make clearer, cleaner, and more accurate stamps. With these steps, you can keep using your self-inking stamps. Refilling the ink will only take you a couple of minutes, and will give you the convenience of creating stamp marks without the need to continuously dip your stamp on the ink pad.